Howdy folks, hope you're doing well. So I did figure out what event handler we needed here for the slider, and it is the onMouseReleased event handler here. So when we let go of the mouse, like stop clicking, it will pick up that event and then figure out where that number was there. So if we give it a run real quick, we can actually see that work, and that's pretty exciting. So let's do that first. So I'll say, hey, I want some milk, 0 milks. So nothing happens while I'm dragging, and when I let go, it says, oh, you landed at 5. Oh, you landed at 3. Oh, you landed at 1. And it works as expected. So that's great here. Now the next thing we want to look at is how we can have this controller class have other attributes and actually start using a class to represent some of these things here, because this is a little ugly and kind of bad form here that we're kind of tracking all of this beverage stuff inside the UI. What we really want to have happen here is we want the UI to do what a UI should do. The user interface should respond to events. So when the user clicks on something, then the controller class can say, okay, something was clicked, go do something, to our business logic. I'm going to try and keep all that business logic separate from the user interface, because as you can see, this gets kind of a little messy here. We're not going to necessarily fix everything here, but let's go and make a class here. So I'm going to make a new class here for beverage. And then some beverage will have some attributes here. So it'll have a string for the beverage name. It'll have a string for the customer name. It'll have a double for the price. And that might be it for now, because we can start, modifying some of these other things as we go. Let's see. So, sure, let's give this a try. So let's start off with some information here. So let's make a constructor. So we'll generate a constructor and say, let's forget the customer name for now. We'll just have name and price to start, because that'll be a little easier here. And then we wanted the add-in, right, or the add-in here as a string. There we go. So, the espresso with milk or anything like that here. And we should be in pretty good shape. This add-in, that might actually be, because you can have more than one add-in, it might make more sense for that to be some sort of list here. So we can make an array list of type string for add-ins if we wanted. And that might work out pretty well. Just got to add our import for array list here. Awesome. All right, and then we'll make a constructor. So when we create one of these beverages here, you need the name, right? So we need to know what type of beverage it is here, and then we will figure out the rest of this stuff as we go here. So the only thing I think we need here is name, and then we can start checking. We can say, hey, if name is equal to, dot equals, ignoring case, espresso, then we can say, hey, price is, what do we say, $1.50 for espresso. Else if my name is something else, if it's just coffee, that's just $1. Price equals $1. Sorry, I should zoom that in a little more there. Sorry about that. And if it is a latte, that is $2. Okay, so we can do all that. And the other thing that needs to happen here is we need to initialize this array list here for add-ons, or add-ins. We'll say the add-ins is equal to a new array list, and it's just empty to start, which is fine. Then we need to add a method here. So public void, how about add-in, which is the string for the add-in here. We're going to add. Sure. And if the add-in equals ignoring case soy milk, then we'll say, hey, I should take my price plus equals 50 cents, right? We're going to add a little bit of charge there for the soy milk. It's probably fine here. Other than that, we can just go ahead and add it, right? And that should work pretty well. Or then we can also have like an int of the amount here. That's going to be a little messy here. Is that because if we want to track how many of them, that's fine. We'll have an int for amount of add-ins here, and that'll work here. So we'll start that off at 0 to start here, and then we'll say the amount of add-ins is equal to the amount. Right, and then we need to have the receipt here. So we need a get price here that we can do. So when we go and let's generate some get methods here. So we can get the name, we can get the price, we can get the add-ons, the amount of add-ins, sure. Just get all of those values here. But the name and price, I think, are going to be the most useful for us. And then if we have an add-in, then we can add that to our name. So this sort of, just getting the name out is not ideal. So what we can do here is we can have a public string get receipt. right? And we can return a nicely formatted string, string.format of, we want the name. Oh goodness. The %s for a string here, right, is name, with, and then if we have any add-ons, we can check if we have add-ons. Sure. Okay, this is getting a little ugly here. That's okay. So we'll have our receipt here. We'll start off as an empty string, or a string for the receipt, an empty string, and then we can add in plus equals the name, and then if by add-ins dot size is greater than 0, we can take our receipt and we can add to it, with, and then for string add-in in the add-ins list here, we'll take our receipt plus equals with the amount here, right? So with plus the add-in amount of add-ins, there we go, plus, and then we'll start adding all of these add-ins here, plus the add-in, probably plus a space, right? And we'll see how that looks. And when we're done, we can return the receipt. We also need the total cost here. So then take a receipt plus equals the price. Probably a $sign, might make it look a little pretty, plus the price. And again, we could do that formatting if we wanted. We'll just see if we can't get this working for now to start. So here's our beverage class, right? You can give it a name, picks up the price from there. You can add an add-in here, and we'll go and add it. And if it's soy milk, we'll charge us more. Great, and we'll tell it the amount that we wanted. And then some get attributes and our get receipt. So get receipt is probably the most interesting here. So in our hello controller, then, what we need is a beverage, right? So I'm going to add something. So you can have attributes that aren't these fxml attributes here, which is fine. So we'll say, yeah, the beverage, we'll just call it a beverage here. And then really in the constructor or the initialize, either is fine. It's not too big of a deal here. We can go and start doing something with that. But really what we want to do is on this show receipt, we're going to go and create that beverage. Right, so we can say, hey, my beverage, well, really, we can do it inside of here then. So if it's the espresso, then my beverage can equal a new beverage given espresso. Espresso. Right, and then if it is coffee, beverage is a new coffee. Coffee, come on, coffee. And otherwise, it's a latte. And we don't have to worry about cost because that's getting set in our class here, right? Our business logic is tracking all of that. And then we can get our amount here for our sliders. And then if the milk box is checked, then we'll take our beverage and we're going to add an add-in of milk and the number of milks to add. I guess that really only belongs in here. We'll have that slider be for everywhere. And then if it's half and half, we'll add in half and half. And if it's soy milk, we'll add in soy milk. This is half and half. This one's soy milk. And we'll just pretend that slider's for all of them here. And then our receipt set text, then, we can say, hey, I want the beverage get receipt. Right, so it looks a little cleaner here. Give it a little form, Control-Alt-L? No, what's the format button here? Code, oh goodness. Reformat, Control-Alt-L. I thought I did. Control-Alt-L. I did Shift. There we go. So we're kind of just saying, hey, here's the beverage here, and we're interacting with beverage with our class here, which is great. So we can get all of the options that are being selected here in the UI and start sending them over to our class to manage all that for us. So it shouldn't look functionally any different here, but we've kind of separated some of these concerns. So I have coffee, I have latte, I have espresso. Those ones work with half and half. Not checking the half and half here. Let's see. So if the half and half is selected, beverage, add in half and half. Oh, I don't think we actually finished that in beverage. Here we go. So we added an add-in here. Let's see. Yep, all we did was add the price here. We didn't actually add it to our add-ins list. So we're going to take add-ins, and we're going to add the add-in. There we go. Right, if we actually add it to our list here, that probably will function a little bit nicer for us. Let's see if that works for us now. So latte with coffee with 0 half and half, 1 half and half, 2, 3, 4, whatever. An espresso with some half and half or soy milks, right? The price went up. Here, 2 soy milk, right? Uncheck that. Now it's just $1.50. With milk, still $1.50. So it seems to be functioning pretty much the same way here, which is nice. We didn't lose any functionality. Milk, half and half. I guess we could have added some ads or other options here, but this is okay. And now we have all that logic out in the class. And the next thing we can start doing with this is we can start adding more features. So I can say, hey, oh, I'm sorry, I should have marked LP as private. The default is private, but it's a nice habit to be explicit about that here. Let's make sure all these are private for our class. Now I can add a string for the customer name here. And we just add some gets and sets for that probably. So let's add, we'll just do generate getter and setter for customer name. Great. And then in the receipt, we will take all of that. How about we do that at the start here? We'll say for plus the customer name plus probably a space there, right? Because we're going to have, oh, maybe a colon and a space for the name of the beverage here. And then my controller, now we can have a list of beverages if we want as well here. So we might have an array list of type beverage that can be called the order here. And yeah, we'll add an array list, sure. And then I'm going to add a button. So let's go over to Scene Builder here. I'm going to go grab another control. I'm going to add another button here. We'll say this is, how about add to order? We'll call that add to order. Is the text of this. And then when we click this one, we want something specific to happen. So I don't think we need an FX ID. We're not going to reference this. We'll have an on action. We'll say an add to order button clicked. Here, so we've added to the order. And then I probably need a better place to put that order here. So I'm going to grab another one of these text areas. I think those are pretty handy. We'll have the text area over here. And this can be, this we need an FX ID. This will be the order text area here. So I can start adding them here instead of that label up at the top, which should be pretty nice. And then if I need the customer's name, we should get a text field for them, right? So we'll have a little text field here. This will be for the customer name text field here. I don't need any actions on this one here, but I'm going to shrink it a little bit and grab another label. And we'll kind of label this one. This is the customer, or I don't know, name. Sure, we'll just say name. So we can add that to the order. Okay, now we'll come back and we will update our controller. Right click, update the controller from FXML, add a couple new things here. So you have the customer name text field, we have the order text area. And then, so now instead of setting the text to the receipt label, I want to take my, actually, I guess we'll leave this one here, but then on my add order, we'll do that instead. We're going to take our text area dot append text, my beverage dot get receipt. Right, when we're happy with the beverage, we can go and get the receipt for the beverage. And we also want to add in a new line character. All right, we'll add that to the order, add the new line character, so you can see what they ordered here. But we also need to get that customer name. So we're going to take the beverage and we're going to set customer name to the customer name text area, get text. Right, whatever text is in there, we'll set the customer name. Great. Then what we can do, once we've done that, then I can take the customer name text field, I can set the text of that one to blank that one out, because you probably aren't ordering 3 coffees for Eric. Although when Eric orders coffee, that's weird talking about myself in third person, I might order 3 different beverages for myself because I just like them a lot. Let's give that a run and see what that looks like. So for null, it's null's bad here. So we need to go back to beverage here. We got to fix that. So the constructor's job is to give values to all these attributes. So if I don't have a customer name, right, we need to default it to something. So customer name should equal an empty string is better than a null, because nulls are really ugly. All right, so let's give that a shot. Okay, so for nobody, coffee, that's fine here. We haven't really added that in, that's fine. So we'll do the latte with half and half, 1 half and half. Let's say this is for Jeb. Why not? We'll add that to the order. We get for Jeb, latte with 1 half and half. And then, excuse me. So our receipt looks a little funny up here, but that's probably okay. And then we'll have a coffee here. I don't want any milk here, so just coffee. And I can add another coffee if I want, right? On and on and on, as far as I want to go. And eventually we can go and check out and we can total these up because we can loop through them. And we now can interact with this class that we have and do something with it that we weren't able to do before, right? If all of this was just built into the UI, I wouldn't have a place that I can actually keep like a list of these beverages for me to check out. So not only does it allow us to kind of separate those concerns, let the UI do what the UI does, which is say, hey, when you click something, okay, now go do an action here, and let all the logic for, hey, what is the class, what does it cost, managing the price, and all those attributes happen in other classes here as well. All right, folks, you take care. Let me know if you have any questions.